Good morning. Today we are covering three major stories. We've got new documents proving China interfered in the 2020 elections, a voter fraud investigation in Texas involving non-citizens, and the U.S. Department announced that it will resume scheduling student visa interviews globally. Welcome to Nelly Miranda. But before we get into today's video, please make sure you like and subscribe as it really helps support the channel. Now let's begin. So on June 17th, Kash Patel, now director of the FBI, have handed over declassified documents to Senator Chuck Grassley. These documents contain intelligence from 2020 showing that the Chinese Communist Party planned to mass produce fake U.S. driver's licenses and ship them to America for one reason: to help people illegally vote through mail-in ballots.
I have confidence in the security of this election because I know the work that we've done for 4 years in support of our state and local partners. I know the work that the intelligence community has done, that the Department of Defense has done, that the FBI has done, that my team has done. I know that these systems are more secure. I know, based on what we have seen, that any attacks on the election were not successful.
And if you can't believe him and trust him, who can you believe and trust? That's tonight's Red Hot video. Former cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency head Chris Krebs, come on, most trustworthy man in the world, explaining his confidence that he had, at least, in the 2020 presidential election, one that he called the most secure in history. Now, believe it or not, here we are 5 years later. A new bombshell from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, with a new FBI director, greatly undermines Mr. Krebs' claims. FBI Director Kash Patel handing over newly declassified intelligence documents, an entire report that says that China carried out mass-produced fake ID rackets in the United States to upend the 2020 presidential election with mail-in ballots to benefit lunch bucket Joe Biden. The intelligence reports of the Chinese interference were from August of 2020, long before Election Day. But the FBI that we know and love, then under the leadership of Christopher Wray, neither bothered to go out and corroborate the reporting or the investigation. They didn't even investigate the claims. Now, instead, what the FBI did is they pulled back. They actually recalled the substantiated allegations and never made them public. Why would the American public want to know about that? The declassified documents, now newly declassified documents, are now in the hands of Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, Senator Chuck Grassley. And I've got to say, this is kind of a big deal, isn't it?
Patel says nearly 20,000 fake licenses were seized. The intelligence was substantiated, but was suddenly recalled before it ever reached the public. No media coverage, no headlines, no hearings. Senator Grassley now wants answers. Why were these warnings buried? Who ordered the cover-up? And why is that anytime we get real proof of fraud, it's treated like a conspiracy until it's too late? This isn't just about 2020. This is about the FBI, the intel community, and the Democratic Party hiding information that could have changed the course of an election. Because if you thought Russia collusion was a scandal, this is 10 times worse. We had a man in office who potentially had no business being there. Meanwhile, in Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton just launched an investigation into 33 individuals suspected of voting in 2024 without being U.S. citizens. And before the media starts screaming conspiracy, here's the difference. This isn't speculation. These cases came straight from Texas's Secretary of State using a federal database known as SAFE. That system lets officials verify someone's citizenship status. It's a secure government-backed tool, and when Texas used it, they found 33 potential illegal votes.
Texas is investigating 33 people accused of voting illegally in last year's general election. A letter from the Office of Attorney General Ken Paxton described them as potential non-citizens. Now, in a statement, Paxton said, quote, "In order to be able to trust the integrity of our elections, the results must be determined by our own citizens, not foreign nationals breaking the law to illegally vote," end quote. Now, for a perspective, before last year's election, Paxton announced a different investigation into allegations of voter fraud. According to our partners at the Texas Tribune, 11 raids were conducted weeks before voters headed to the polls. Agents searched the homes of Texas House candidate Cecilia Castellano and 5 others working on her campaign. Now, she was running as a Democrat for the state representative seat in Uvalde. Now, some targeted in the raids were also members of the League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC. That organization said the searches were intended to, quote, suppress the Latino vote through intimidation. Now, Paxton at the time said the raids were part of a 2-year investigation into allegations of election fraud and vote harvesting.
Let's be clear. One illegal vote is too many. And here we've got 33 in one state using one tool. Now imagine what we'd find if every state had access to this database. But guess what? Democrats fight access to these tools. They fight voter ID. They fight signature verification. They fight anything that creates transparency and accountability. Why? Because they know what we'd find. This is about integrity and stopping foreign nationals from impacting American elections. And Ken Paxton, he's one of the few officials willing to call it out and act on it. Okay, so on June 18th, just one day after the Texas voter fraud announcement, the State Department revealed it will resume student visa interviews around the world. But there's a catch. Under the policy that just went into effect, all applicants for student visas F, M, and J categories will now be required to hand over their social media accounts as part of a national security screening. And you know what? That's not a bad idea, because if you want to come study in the United States, you should be able to prove that you're not harboring anti-American sentiments, supporting terrorism, or participating in online networks that pose a threat to national security. The new guidance instructs consular officers to look for signs of hostility towards the U.S. And if you refuse to provide your social media info, then your visa can be denied on the spot. This follows a pause in scheduling that began in May while the system was updated to reflect these new security priorities. And just for context, over 1.1 million foreign students enrolled in U.S. colleges during the 2023 and 2024 academic year. That's more than the population of multiple states. So yes, we better know who's coming here, what they believe, and whether they intend to contribute or cause chaos. This is not discrimination. I think it's common sense. So what's the common thread in all of this? China interferes in 2020. The FBI hides it. Illegals vote in 2024, and the media downplays it. And when someone actually tries to protect a country, they're mocked, discredited, and ignored. We are in a fight, not against Democrats, but against a broken system that refuses to tell the truth. This is why election integrity, border control, and national vetting policies matter. We cannot have a functioning republic if the people voting are not citizens. If the intel community is suppressing foreign interference, and if the people elected to represent us are just way too busy fighting each other to get anything done, we cannot have a functioning republic. So let me ask you, do you think the Chinese election interference should have been made public in 2020? And should every state have access to federal tools like SAFE to verify voters? Is requiring international students to share their social media profiles crossing a line on privacy? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like and subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.